For most people, armies fought for land, loyalty, and survival. A soldier's identity was tied to a lord, a city, a dynasty, or a cause. War was brutal, but it was personal. Then something changed. Violence broke away from loyalty, war became a service, and for the first time, warfare became something that could be bought. Welcome to a history where money, power, and conflict collide, and where nothing is as simple as it seems. Throughout history, war has been a field in which not only weapons, but also loyalty have been tested. For centuries, armies were composed of individuals united around shared values such as homeland, religion, king, or tribe. Over time, however, this structure underwent a profound transformation. Soldiering gradually ceased to be a sacred duty and began to resemble a profession. This turning point gave rise to what can be described as the Mercenary Revolution, the moment when payment separated from loyalty. In antiquity, mercenary service was largely exceptional. In ancient Greece, for example, some city-states relied on foreign warriors to meet military needs, particularly during wartime. These soldiers, however, were generally temporary solutions. In the early Roman Empire, military service was a civic obligation tied to Roman citizenship. Legionaries were bound by loyalty to the state and the emperor. Yet as the empire expanded and its borders grew increasingly difficult to defend, this system became unsustainable. Rome came to rely more heavily on barbarian mercenaries, shifting soldiers' allegiance away from Roman ideals and toward wages, thereby weakening military discipline. During the Middle Ages, the feudal system offered a military structure centered on loyalty. Knights swore oaths to their lords and fought in exchange for land. This arrangement, however, also proved unstable. Prolonged conflicts, most notably the 100 Years' War, created a growing demand for permanent and professional soldiers. Mercenary forces such as the Swiss pikemen and the Italian condottieri became indispensable to European warfare. On the battlefield, what mattered most was no longer who was most loyal, but who could offer the highest pay. The true impact of the Mercenary Revolution lay in its transformation of the concept of loyalty itself. These soldiers were not bound to a flag or a people, but to a contract. When wages were delayed or a better offer appeared, switching sides was often considered acceptable. This instability forced states to adopt new strategies. Powerful and centralized monarchies sought to reduce their dependence on mercenaries by establishing standing armies, laying the foundations of the modern nation-state. In the modern era, mercenary warfare has not disappeared. It has merely changed form. Today, organizations operating under the label of private military companies can be seen as contemporary versions of mercenaries. These entities provide security services to states and private actors alike, raising renewed debates about the privatization of war. As a result, concepts such as loyalty, ethics, and responsibility are once again being questioned. In short, the Mercenary Revolution profoundly reshaped not only the military, but also the moral and political dimensions of warfare. In this era, when payment separated from loyalty, war ceased to be a matter of belief and became a market activity. This transformation remains critically important for understanding modern concepts of security and warfare.